You are standing quietly in front of a crowded glass zoo enclosure. A hairy chimpanzee is effortlessly solving a highly complex puzzle. It carefully selects a thin wooden twig to collect delicious ants. This clever animal confidently recognizes its own face in a mirror. We can easily observe its intense moments of deep joy, rage, or grief. Yet this intelligent primate cannot pronounce even a single plain word. Our silent cousins possess vocal cords and lungs identical to ours. They utilize highly flexible lips and powerful tongues to chew food. Now, a tiny 2-year-old toddler easily babbles its first short words. The small child can proudly say mama before learning to ride a bike. An adult chimpanzee might live 40 years without speaking at all. This clever beast remains completely mute despite its profound wisdom. Such a silent reality creates a deeply baffling biological paradox. We actually share 99% of our genetic code with them, yet only one of these branches successfully learned to sing songs. Humans can passionately debate philosophy and tell intricate lies. We easily construct complex tales about completely fictitious realms. Our hairy cousins remain forever locked in a world of basic signs. This massive communication gap is a profound evolutionary puzzle. They seem to possess almost every single tool required for speech. Yet no other living primate on our planet can master spoken words. How did we cross this incredible and mysterious evolutionary line? Our ancient voices became highly dangerous and powerful instruments. This unique transition represents a brutal evolutionary bottleneck. It successfully gave one lucky branch of primates a powerful voice. At the same time, our closest cousins remained fully silent forever. This incredible journey began with a physical drop inside our throat. Our ancient ancestor developed an entirely rewired biological brain. This unique transition required a truly lethal evolutionary trade-off. Our ancestors paid an incredibly high price for this magical gift. To see how we bought our unique voice, we must look at our anatomy. Our journey begins inside a dark, highly dangerous biological zone. We must inspect a highly dangerous structure inside our own throats. A strange evolutionary shift slowly transformed our basic anatomy. This voice box dropped much lower to create a unique vocal chamber. Such a spacious area sits directly behind our soft mouth and tongue. This open tube acts like a beautiful musical instrument for our voice. However, this unique physical setup represents a terrifying gamble. Our descended voice box created a truly lethal threat of daily choking. A wild chimpanzee can swallow huge chunks of food completely safely. Nature actively demanded an incredible price for this invisible gift. We traded our basic biological safety for extreme vocal flexibility. A tiny human baby can actually breathe and swallow at the same time. This protective physical ability quickly disappears after a few months. Our young larynx begins its slow descent deep into the lower neck. This physical movement creates a highly dangerous biological highway. The pathways for solid food and fresh air suddenly cross each other. Every single swallow requires active, perfect physical coordination. A small error can easily block your airway and cause instant death. Other primates completely avoid this dangerous physiological flaw. Their high larynx completely separates the breathing and swallowing. These apes can quickly swallow raw food without a single choking threat. Every delicious meal you eat represents a daily brush with death. This heavy evolutionary cost of speech is directly written in blood. Early ancestors risked sudden suffocation to gain a powerful voice. Why would natural selection actively promote such a deadly setup? The massive social benefit of talking easily outweighed the danger. Early tribes traded physical safety to build complex relationships. Choking on simple water remains an exclusively human, painful reality. This hazardous structural descent left a permanent biological trace. Scientists can actually trace this risky timeline through ancient bone. These expert researchers look for a highly specialized skeletal clue. A tiny fossilized object holds the secret to our evolutionary voice. We must dig deep into ancient Earth to find this hidden fossil throat. Dedicated researchers must hunt for a tiny, highly specialized clue. This incredible physical object remains completely buried in dry dirt. Experts call this tiny horseshoe-shaped fragment the ancient hyoid. This floating tissue anchors your heavy tongue and vocal structure. Without this essential support, human speech is completely impossible. A chimpanzee possesses a very different version of this vital bone. Their neck skeleton features a deep cup designed to hold an air sac. This biological pocket helps them produce extremely loud warning calls. Such heavy shouting actively prevents making highly refined sounds. Our ancient ancestors slowly abandoned this noisy physical chamber. They gradually developed a highly specialized horseshoe-shaped object. Prehistoric humans left these unique remains deep inside dry caves. Archaeologists carefully dig up the damp soil to recover the fossil. These ancient fragments hold the real story of our ancestral voice. We can actually compare our unique bones with extinct human cousins. For a long time, researchers studied the robust Neanderthal skeleton. Those ancient hunters possessed a surprisingly modern hyoid design. Such stunning skull data suggests they could produce some basic sounds. However, their rigid facial anatomy remained highly limited indeed. They probably lacked our beautifully nuanced vocal pacing and range. Only modern Homo sapiens fully unlocked the massive power of speech. This unique vocal tract began its strange, risky descent very long ago. Researchers can date this ancient timeline using specialized tools. They analyze the tiny angles of each fossilized neck bone carefully. Each small measurement reveals how our modern vocal throat slowly grew. Yet, physical changes inside your lower neck are only half the story. You also need a highly powerful biological computer to manage sound. This incredible thinking organ must send lightning-fast neural signals. A beautiful physical setup remains completely useless without wiring. Our ancestors required a massive cognitive leap to control speaking. This biological transition demanded a highly complex genetic shift. We must examine our DNA to find the hidden code of our talking brain. A descended voice box represents only half of this complex equation. We also require incredibly advanced software inside our daily minds. Imagine the human brain functioning like a massive biological computer. A beautiful physical instrument remains useless without correct wiring. Let us carefully examine the biological magic of our language genes. Modern scientists focus heavily on a very famous code called FOXP2. Inside this tiny piece of DNA lives the main controller of speech. A critical genetic transition rewired our neural pathways long ago. Through this unique rewrite, our fine motor control grew very fast. Suddenly, humans could move dozens of tiny muscles at the same time. These delicate vocal systems sit inside your tongue, lips, and throat. Our bodies coordinate these parts at unbelievable lightning speed. Every wild chimpanzee actually possesses a version of this same gene. However, their ancient biological code never underwent our mutation. They remain with highly capable vocal cords, but lack central control. Their physical setup resembles a modern keyboard without any computer. These apes possess the natural hardware but lack the inner software. Human brains are uniquely configured for rapid language expression. We sequence complex throat adjustments without even thinking about it. Consider the incredibly precise micro-movements of your daily tongue. One simple spoken syllable requires dozens of muscles to coordinate. Your busy motor cortex constantly runs this highly refined script. Chimpanzees simply cannot match this speed of neural communication. Their complex brains process physical actions in a very different way. An active ape can throw a heavy rock or grasp a small twig easily. Yet those primates cannot trigger the rapid vocal flows of speech. Without this unique neural wiring, the entire larynx remains quiet. Nature separated our paths through a highly specialized genetic wall. One tiny biological shift created an incredibly vast communication gap. This single event clearly explains our rapid growth over other apes. Humans still desperately try to teach our silent cousins how to sign. We must study these famous animal projects to see if they can cross it. Hopeful scientists spent decades trying to bypass their silent throats. Dedicated researchers raised baby chimpanzees inside warm family homes. Celebrated apes like Koko and Washoe successfully learned basic signs. Another brilliant bonobo named Kanzi pointed at colorful symbol boards. These clever animals easily memorized several hundred unique gestures. Yet their communication completely lacked any form of complex grammar. They could never construct nested thoughts or recursive explanations. A tiny human child rapidly absorbs dozens of fresh words every week. These trained primates mostly sign to request delicious food rewards. No trained primate ever asked a single thoughtful or curious question. They never actively inquired if their human handlers felt tired or sad. Their entire mental focus remains locked on immediate physical desires. These legendary apes represent a highly pampered linguistic elite. Out in the African jungles, wild family groups tell a different story. They rely completely on simple vocal calls and sudden hand gestures. A loud shriek might quickly warn the troop about a slithering snake. These basic biological alarms only convey immediate emotional states. An active ape cannot discuss yesterday or plan for tomorrow morning. Their natural communication hits a very steep wall they never climb. Why does this massive gap exist between our two closely linked species? Scientists must look beyond raw brain power to solve this big mystery. We are forced to evaluate the actual physical mechanics of expression. Speech actually demands a unique high level of body coordination. Those primate cousins possess a completely different throat structure. They utilize those parts to chew up tough foods or generate calls. However, they cannot execute the tiny movements to produce syllables. Their deep biological wiring blocks them from mastering complex talk. This critical restriction goes much deeper than their narrow jawbones. Every single spoken syllable requires highly refined voluntary airflow. Human talk is directly tied to the precise pressure of our deep lungs. To fully unravel this mystery, we must examine our breathing mechanics. We are entering a highly restrictive, unique biological bottleneck. Let us carefully examine how we regulate the air inside our chests. Every simple phrase is powered by a highly controlled stream of wind. Speaking actually requires a truly bizarre amount of lung pressure. We must hold, release, and shape every breath with extreme precision. Our active chest works like a beautiful, highly tuned wind instrument. Those silent forest cousins completely lack this mechanical control. An active ape cannot voluntarily adjust the pressure of its lungs. Wild primates only draw deep breaths to obtain vital oxygen. Chimpanzees cannot slowly release their air to construct long phrases. Any loud primate call is actually a sudden, massive burst of wind. These wild creatures simply cannot hold back their breath to speak. Our entire vocal system is wired directly into a highly complex brain. Specific nerves link our thinking mind to our deep respiratory parts. We actively control our busy chest muscles with amazing precision. A chimpanzee possesses a much thinner neural highway to its ribs. Their physical wiring cannot support the long demands of speaking. This deep silence represents a massive, full-body biological limit. They simply cannot operate the delicate breathing machine of words. Imagine playing a heavy music organ without any source of airflow. No matter how fast you strike those keys, the giant pipes remain quiet. Such a biological barrier is far more brutal than raw intelligence. Our ancient ancestors slowly rewired their entire breathing system. That sudden evolution unlocked a highly flexible physical superpower. We can seamlessly blend simple breathing and talking into one act. This beautiful skill became our most powerful evolutionary weapon. Other ancient hominins probably lacked this complete breathing sync. Let us imagine a tense meeting between two very different species. Robust Neanderthal hunters gathered silently inside a very dark cave. They suddenly hear a strange new sound echoing through the trees. Our complex human speech was about to completely reshape the world. That incredible vocal agility gave our ancestors a major advantage. We must step deep inside the shadows to witness this historic meeting. Two completely different groups of hunters are staring at each other. Muscular and heavy Neanderthals stand silently near a roaring fire. A group of modern Homo sapiens watches them from the dark entrance. These closely related cousins actually do not share the same voice. Only extremely basic and heavy sounds emerge from a Neanderthal throat. Our own tiny ancestors have fully unlocked the absolute power of words. This amazing skill quickly lets our families coordinate complex hunts. The quiet Neanderthals still rely heavily on simple physical signs. A human can easily whisper a rapid warning about a nearby predator. Their heavy rivals must shout out loudly and alert the entire forest. This silent coordination keeps our ancient family groups totally safe. We also use complex stories to build very large social alliances. Friendly tribes easily share scarce food during a long freezing winter. Isolated Neanderthal bands mostly live in tiny and separate pockets. When local resources vanish, these small groups face rapid starvation. Our ancestors simply talk to distant neighbors to secure quick help. Speaking lets us quickly share vital tips about making better tools. Their ancient technology remains unchanged for thousands of years. Each generation of Homo sapiens quickly builds on ancient wisdom. Words act like a highly flexible and powerful evolutionary weapon. We quickly take over all the best hunting territories and rivers. The silent hominins are gradually pushed into harsh, empty deserts. Physical strength simply cannot compete with our technical teamwork. Those quiet cousins slowly fade away from the surface of our planet. Only one vocal branch of primates remains to rule the entire globe. Our unique ability to talk completely transforms our busy daily lives. We successfully conquer every harsh landscape on this freezing planet. Our rapid vocal agility is the ultimate key to our global dominance. Human tribes leave their silent forest cousins behind in a quiet world. This physical triumph soon triggers an incredible cultural explosion. A brilliant new spark of deep human knowledge starts to grow rapidly. We must witness how words completely transformed early human life. This vocal triumph soon triggered an incredible cultural explosion. A brilliant new spark of deep human knowledge started to grow rapidly. Each busy generation easily inherited a massive library of cool ideas. Our clever ancestors never had to reinvent the simple stone tool again. Experienced elders easily passed down precise tips about wild beasts. We call this rapid flow of shared knowledge cumulative human culture. No other creature on our vast planet possesses this learning pathway. A young chimpanzee merely watches its family to grasp basic gestures. The silent ape never receives verbal tips about making better tools. Their ancient technology remains completely unchanged for ages indeed. Every human generation quickly builds on top of past achievements. Spoken words act like an incredibly flexible and powerful mental tool. We utilize beautiful stories to firmly forge massive social bonds. Shared belief in abstract myths lets total strangers work together. This deep coordination scaled our small bands into civil societies. Without spoken language, chimpanzee troops quickly splinter in size. They simply cannot organize massive kingdoms or complex legal systems. Language acts like an incredibly fast and powerful adaptive shortcut. Instead of slow genetic changes, we grow rapidly through fresh ideas. Our busy ancestors successfully conquered every harsh global landscape. Those quiet wild cousins remain permanently locked in ancient forests. The sheer scale of human progress stands as a direct result of voice. Speaking easily transformed a clever ape into a dominant world force. We build rocket ships and write incredibly complex law constitutions. However, this beautiful superpower did far more than just connect us. It completely rewired how we actively experience our internal minds. Our unique ability to speak quickly gave birth to a quiet inner voice. We successfully installed a permanent narrator inside our daily heads. This constant mental talk drives our daily ambitions and deep anxiety. You can actively reflect on your own actions and form a clear self. A wild chimpanzee probably lives entirely locked inside the present. We must carefully analyze the true nature of this strange inner voice. Now we must carefully look inward at our very own daily existence. This miraculous speaking superpower did far more than link tribes. It permanently rewired how we actively perceive our silent minds. Our unique communication skills soon gave birth to an inner voice. A permanent narrator successfully installed itself inside our heads. We constantly run a complex personal script inside our own minds. This constant internal chatter drives daily ambition and anxiety. You can actively reflect on your own actions and form a clear self. Those wild chimpanzees likely live completely locked in the present. They simply react to immediate physical signals within the forest. Humans constantly construct highly complex simulations of reality. We endlessly plan for a very distant and completely unseen future. Our active minds always analyze every single past mistake and regret. This loud internal monologue creates severe and heavy human anxiety. We constantly worry about terrible events occurring in the future. Yet this persistent nervous fear also drives our ultimate ambition. It actively forces us to passionately build and reshape our universe. The internal narrator demands deep meaning inside a chaotic world. We write incredibly beautiful stories and build massive civilizations. Every great empire first started with a whisper inside a human mind. Modern rocket ships represent physical ideas spoken loudly to space. You are definitely not simply a slightly smarter wild forest primate. Instead, you represent an entirely different type of biological being, a self-aware animal trapped forever with its own complex thoughts. This beautiful and strange evolutionary twist is actually very poetic. Our risky anatomical drop in the lower throat finally gave us a soul. It quickly allowed us to speak our entire reality into existence. We are the only unique creatures capable of explaining ourselves. This incredibly quiet universe finally found a unique way to speak. Our complex minds are how the vast cosmos actively listens to itself. Next time you actively hear your inner narrator, listen very closely. Always stay incredibly curious about the strange origins of speech.